Over the weekend, we've seen the threats from Trump become ever more serious. He's ratcheted up his language. He's essentially looking to blackmail his European allies with yet more tariffs. And with these latest Oval Office outbursts, we're seeing dysfunction in DC wreaking havoc across the world. Taoiseach, this is cause for huge concern, because not content with tanking his own country's economy, Trump's actions now seem set on everyone else's too. And following his perceived Nobel Peace Prize snub, he's publicly acknowledged that his sights are set on imperialist action. We know the enormous threat to Europe posed from the east by Putin's barbaric authoritarian regime in Russia, but now we're seeing a threat of annexation of European territory from the west, from our so-called ally in the US. So Trump is ripping up the rulebook when it comes to international diplomacy. And just a year in office, the uncertainty he's causing is doing enormous damage. His territory grabs, his tariffs, and now the real likelihood of a Trump slump. Taoiseach, today I want to ask about the potential impact of such a slump on Ireland and what we can do about it. Because economic shocks do not just impact spreadsheets nationally, they hit kitchen cupboards, homes and communities across the country. When governments fail to prepare, ordinary people pay the price for failure. And we all know how exposed our public finances are, due to our disproportionate over-reliance on corporation tax from a small number of large US multinationals.
Could I say at the outset that we are in very uncharted territory, and the situation is serious and potentially very grave for the European economy, for the Irish economy, indeed for the United States economy, if a trade war was to break out and if we had a series of tariffs and counter-tariffs. Europe has, in the last iteration of this last year, in the aftermath of Liberation, so-called Liberation Day, Europe prepared different scenarios in terms of tariffs. Those scenarios are still in place and can be deployed if necessary. And we've been very conscious, and you're correct in saying that this affects people, people's jobs, people's capacity to look after themselves and their families. And that has always been my number one interest. Because in the conduct of foreign policy, we have national interests. And the protection of livelihoods and workers is a key national interest in terms of how we contribute to these issues, how we help to try and resolve these issues. And it's good that we are members of the European Union, by the way. At moments like this, the value of being in a single market, the value of being in a European Union should not be underestimated. Others are not, and find it more difficult and more challenging.